This is going to be a series of video demos to show you how to produce an animatic using some of the Adobe apps, specifically Adobe Animate and Photoshop. I'm going to start here with Photoshop to show you how to process your storyboard panels. Either you're going to draw them in a digital program, or you're going to draw them on paper and scan them. If you draw them on paper and scan them, you're going to want to take them into Photoshop and process them a little bit. Starting with Photoshop, you can see that your interface might be a little different. The way you have things laid out may be slightly different than mine, but it should be the same Photoshop. So all the tools that you have at your disposal are going to be the same. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to either draw your storyboard panels on paper or digitally, and you're going to want to either scan. If you draw them, you're going to want to scan them or photograph them on your phone. If you do photograph them on your phone, there's going to have to be some processing involved in Photoshop, and you can also use Photoshop tools to process some of your images if you need to alter them at all. So let's just start here. I'm going to start with this one here, and this is a drawing that I had photographed on my phone because I don't have a scanner, and I basically want to do is cut this out and use it as a storyboard panel. Of course, first thing you're going to want to do is rotate it so it's in position, and I'm going to take this panel and I'm going to make it into just a single panel using over here the select marquee tool. I'm going to have that selected, and I'm just going to select the square here, leaving some room on the edges of the borders here like that. I'm going to select that, and I'm going to edit copy or Control C, and then I'm going to, after I've copied that, I'm going to go make a new, just create a new canvas here and just paste it. You can either go Control Paste or Control V, and that'll put it as a single file here. If you were to photograph it on your phone, sometimes the lighting is not great, and you can do a little bit of processing here. I'm going to adjust the brightness and the contrast. I'm going to bring the brightness up. You want to be kind of consistent with all of your drawings here. And let's bring the contrast up a little bit and just get it the way you like it. This is an animatic storyboard, so it doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to make sure that it's clear and you can see it. And then the other thing that you may want to do is make it, you want to kind of make it so it's squared up to the frame, because you're going to be cutting this together with other storyboard frames, and sometimes this border is going to be annoying if it's not cropped out or it's not exactly squared up. To do that, you go into Edit, Transform, and I like to use the Skew tool. And with that tool, I can take my image and I can just sort of adjust it so it's squared with the frame here. And you can be as precise as you want. You know, you don't have to be like super careful, because it's just going to be an animatic, but sometimes it's nice to be somewhat accurate, because these are going to cut together, and it's nice to have them when they kind of cut real closely together if the drawings are similar. So let's get it to be like that. Press Enter to make it stick. I'm going to choose the marquee tool again, and I'm just going to go on the inside of my the border there of the storyboard panel, and just select that and go Image, Crop, and that crops it up real nicely like that. So now that that's done, you're going to want to save this out. One thing I want to kind of tell you that is a good habit to do is that I have a folder that I made specifically. I'm calling this Animatic Demo. You can call it the name of your project. And I have in here, I'm going to put in all my storyboard panels, all my scans, all of my files that I'm going to be using for my animatic. It's a really good idea, and it will help you out a lot if you keep everything in one folder and just refer to that folder the whole time. So once I have this ready to go, I'm going to go File, Save As, and in Photoshop, it's going to give you some choices. And I want to make this a PNG file, and there's a reason why that's important. PNGs work really well with Adobe Animate. It also will give you some ability to make some transparencies, which I'll show you in a second. So I will go choose that as a PNG file and call this something that makes sense to you. That will be a good name that you can refer to later, and call this boy1. And you want to put that in that scans folder that I have there, and go, oh, I want to go to Adobe. I'm going to put that in the demo folder here with my other ones, and go save. And there you have it. And now that that is saved as a panel that you can use in Adobe Animate. Real quickly, I want to show you here that I have this drawing here, and I wanted to cut him out and make him as a sort of a I wanted to make a transparency, so I make this white disappear. And I did that by just, and I'll show you how to do that in a second, is I made a transparency that I can bring into Adobe Animate, and I can animate this around as a separate element on top of other storyboards. To do that, in Photoshop, you go to the polygon lasso tool, you choose that, and you go around, and I'm going to be real quick about this. You want to be a little careful about this. You can also zoom in a little bit. I've already sort of started, so I can't zoom in right at the moment, but you can navigate and zoom in. And I'm just going to go around, and let's just say I'm being real careful. I'm not being real careful right now, just so we can go quickly. This is kind of a boring thing for you guys to watch, but we will do this. And there we go, and there we go. You connect it by going to where you started. It'll show as a little dot, and then you go image or edit copy, and then you make a new layer down here in your layers. And you can move that layer around, and then you will paste that, Control V, into that layer. I'm going to show you that again, actually, without. So this is a new layer here, and I'm going to Control V, or you can edit, paste, and that will put that image that you cut out on top of a transparent layer there. I'm going to show you the one that I did do, which is very cleaner and a lot better, and you can clean that up if you want to. Another thing that you may want to do, sometimes if there's mistakes that you want to get rid of, you can pick a color, and you can choose the paint tool, and with that layer selected, you can go in, and I'm going to make this brush a little bigger, and you can go and you can clear out mistakes or do additional drawings according to what you want to do. So again, what you want to do is you want to save as. You go into Photoshop, save it as a PNG. Very important, because a PNG will maintain that transparency, and I'm going to call it boy walk, or something that makes sense. And you want to save that, and it will go into your file folder like that. So once you've done that with all of your storyboard panels, I've only done a few here, it is time to go into Adobe Animate and to start to assemble your animatic.